Ladies and gentlemen, guys and gals, non-binary pals, and the technicolor rainbow in between, this is Modular Wrestling Podcast, and I am your host, Chris Boingo Writer Gaston, and with me is my tag team partner.
Simeon Scott?
Yeah, that's typically how this goes. I do a thing, and then you say your name.
Okay. I don't know what to do with myself anymore, except watch wrestling, because that's all we were allowed to do this month is watch wrestling, because there was so much fucking wrestling that I didn't even have time to watch all the wrestling. Help!
Yeah. But hey, that's what this podcast is for, is to quantify it and justify it and give us a dumb reason to do it.
Yeah.
Oh, lordy. So, how was your wrestling month other than laborious?
I don't think there's any other word for it, honestly. Like, so much shit went down, and it's like, I look back on certain parts of the month and I'm like, good god, that was this month. It feels like 3 months, 3 fucking bajillion years ago.
Yep. Oh man, everything. So, let's just go ahead and get started with WWE. WWE has been doing some shit.
It's been a big and insane month for them. We could say that.
Yeah, especially when the fact that they are losing in record numbers viewers week by week.
Yeah, I think WWE is a fish. Like, it's not bad enough that they need to panic right now, but they're kind of they're kind of a sinking ship at the moment.
They're 1998, early 1999 WCW.
Yeah.
They're nowhere near 2000, but they're getting there.
Oh boy.
And just so many different things, including their business practices, are now being doubly called into questions after the whole number of Saudi deals. With last week tonight, John Oliver basically showed receipts and went, hey, WWE, y'all fucky.
Yeah, that they did a whole episode just going like, hey, wrestling is awesome. The wrestling industry, not so much. And it was a really interesting watch, I'd say.
Yeah. Especially with everything the executive vice presidents have been talking about doing with AEW.
Mm-hmm.
That should be the name of their stable, the executive vice presidents.
Yeah. That segment very much felt like a criticism of the wrestling industry that is being addressed not by WWE but by AEW. And of course, we're going to talk about AEW more later in the show, but like, holy jeebus, all the shit they threw at them about the healthcare and the kind of abusing talent, which WWE then went like, we think we do fine. You could come to Wrestlemania, John Oliver. And then, like, as this month has gone on, they've got, like, more and more scummy shit from them has come out into the public eye.
And, like there are several things, like Sasha Banks may not be coming back to the fold. Dean Ambrose finally got fully released. Luke Harper asked for his release and they went no, and then added more time to his contract.
Yeah,
it's very predatory. It's honestly, this feels like the last gasp of the territory days. Like all the
Kinda.
worst part of the territory days.
Yeah, it does feel very much like this is not a good look, and you're not doing anything to fix it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And like even there's been a number of wrestlers like Matt Hardy came out in support of the WWE because he basically went, yeah, but they paid for my surgeries and stuff. And it's like, yeah, but you're Matt fucking Hardy. You are now a legacy character for them, and you just can make them money by existing. Your investment. They didn't do it because they cared about you.
Uh-huh.
And Biggie made a joke recently about, hey, Biggie, when you coming back on Twitter? And he went, when we have your healthier options in catering. Like, it's very obviously this is a thing that's kind of being talked about in maybe in hush tones, hush circles. Might be, who knows? But there's already been there has already been attempts at unionization within the WWE locker room.
Yeah.
So this isn't uncommon, and I bet dollars to donuts that AEW starts being much more worker friendly, much more labor inclusive. WWE is gonna have to figure out what to do.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see like what I don't really know where you can go with this discussion that it hasn't already, because this was right after we released our last episode, and since then kind of everybody has said their piece on it. I think the most interesting thing I heard was somebody brought up like it is very much one of those things where it's going to take something like a major control shift in the company to change this, because of the way Vince McMahon is. Like, if you watch the Andre the Giant documentary, there's a moment in that when they're talking about WrestleMania 3 and leading up to it and how they decided to do that match, and they tell it in this very charming, believe in yourself no matter what kind of way. But essentially, how that match came about was Andre came to Vince and he said, I need to retire. I'm dying. And Vince said, no, you're not. You have one last match in you. Yeah. And I have no doubts that attitude has not gone away since the 80s, because Vince McMahon is Vince McMahon.
Yeah, there's honestly, it's gonna take two things, because even if Vince McMahon goes away, I have a feeling the independent contractor, which is the main argument he was making, wasn't that WWE mistreats its talent, because sometimes they do, but they have gotten better. It's that the way they define the working relationship with their talent is false.
Yeah, it's a really weird thing.
Because here's the thing, independent contracting means that they are doing the job for the company that they're working for, but there are several things that define an independent contractor, some of which include being able to work at other jobs, other contracts. They are allowed to take other contracts, but WWE famously has non-compete clauses in their contracts.
Yeah, WWE has like, when you hear someone got, they're the reason that when you hear this person got signed to this company, it means they are exclusively with that company now.
There's only like a couple people I think aren't included in that, and that's the Colognes, because they still wrestle their family promotion in Puerto Rico.
Mm.
But even then, that may be drying up soon because Vince McMahon got the rights to all the tapes.
Yeah.
And that was the rumor why they were still allowed to do that, is because Vince was gunning for the tapes and he was giving a favor to the family. But like the NXT UK guys for a while were allowed to work other UK promotions, but once NXT UK became a thing, they were like, nope, you can't work any other promotion. So there's a lot of fucky shit that if WWE just went, all right, cool, we're just gonna pay for travel, pay for healthcare, and now you're just full employees. Yeah, there'd be less of a problem. It's just, man, the labor in America is fucked.
Yeah, it's one of those things where a large chunk of the world is operating on a system that is becoming more and more glaringly outdated as the years go on, and a lot of our society needs a massive overhaul. And that's just in labor alone. I mean, like, a conversation I'm sure you and I constantly interact with is the way media is released now is also a huge problem, where there's a clear direction we should be moving in, but there's a lot of things that are still clinging on to an old format, and it's somewhat killing that stuff.
Yep. Come to the left. We have solidarity.
Oh, Jesus.
But lighter news, some of their B shows on the network came back. Right Along and Ms. and Mrs. came back on USA. I don't really watch Ms. and Mrs. I know you watch every once in a while.
I've actually, this season, I have been keeping up with it completely. I've really been enjoying this season of Ms. and Mrs. because I kind of discovered this season, and I don't know if it's sort of a change they did, a clear change they made in like how their storytelling is or whatever, but Ms. and Mrs. fills a gap for me that I didn't know I needed filling in my media until now, which is classic sitcom style storytelling. Because sitcoms nowadays, the way they do stories is much different than, like, say, the stuff from the 80s and 90s, the TGIF shows. This But Ms. and Mrs. feels very much like one of those shows. It's just with a reality show veneer polish over it. And it works really well. It's these nice little 22-minute episodes of just like these quote unquote average American problems that are like really big and bombastically told. And I dig that a lot. Like the most recent episode where it's like, oh, I'm going to give Maurice a day off, but the night before there's a big football game, and I never get to watch a football game of my favorite team when I'm at home. So I'm going to watch this game, and I bought this cool, expensive fridge that'll let me get into it right when the team wins, if they win. And then him, Dolph Ziggler, and another guy are there watching the game, and the team wins, and they get drunk as shit. And then the next day they wake up with hangovers, and Maurice is like, "Are you guys gonna be okay? Because I gotta leave for my thing in like 5 minutes." And they're like, "No, we're fine." And then they spend an hour just trying to get rid of their hangovers and end up having to rush around doing all the stuff they need to do for the Mrs. daughter.
And it definitely, from what I've seen a couple episodes, it feels very much like, hey, this is obviously scripted, but we're making it feel like it's not. It's a kayfabe reality show.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's kind of turned me around on a genre where when I was younger, I used to think of reality shows as like this trashy garbage, because a lot of reality shows are trashy garbage. But
the ones that are the best are the ones that know they're trashy garbage, like Viva La Bam.
Mm-hmm. I never really gave them the time of day until stuff like this, and I would occasionally sit through an episode of like Pawn Stars or American Pickers back in the day, but like I was never a super fan of that kind of stuff. I always hated stuff like the competition shows or the shows where it's a bunch of people squeezed into one place and the drama is supposed to be entertaining, but it just comes off as really grating because it's a bunch of people yelling at each other. Ms. and Mrs. is a decent comedy, and I like that.
Yeah.
And you know, Ride Along, if you've seen one episode of Ride Along, you've kind of seen them all, but there've been a good couple episodes these last couple weeks. There was one with The New Day and Zelina Vega and Andrade right after what was it? Elimination Chamber, and that was a lot of fun. And then just
And
recently,
I love that episode just because Aleister Black calls
yes,
and he talks to Andrade more than Zelina Vega and says, "Hey, just get her over here and I'll take her off your hands."
yeah, he's like, I'm lonely as fuck. Please bring me my wife.
Like they are like it feels warms my heart to know that they're kind of bros.
Mm-hmm.
That it's very much like, no, you're the working friend, I'm the husband, but we both know how she is, so we both got to keep an eye on her.
Yeah, and then she was a pretty entertaining personality in and of herself because she basically is a very one note character when she's in the ring, which is not to say she's bad. She's a great worker. But getting to see a little more of her as a person was really fun, and hearing her talk about things like how she had a huge crush on Shawn Michaels as a kid, and how she was into Harley Quinn before it was cool to be into Harley Quinn. I thought that was a lot of fun.
Oh, and how she realized she had a type.
Yeah. And then it just cuts to a picture of her and Alistair.
She likes white boys with green eyes.
Green eyes and tattoos.
Yep. It was adorable, and like Andrade Cien Almas said tranquilo or relax like 20 times.
Yeah.
Relax.
You keep saying relax. I don't know why you say relax so much. Well, she's going like 90 miles a minute.
And then he goes, tranquilo. And she's like, motherfucker. Let's just relax in another language.
Did you see the episode that came out a couple weeks ago with the lowercase DX boys and Beth Phoenix and Natalia?
No.
That was pretty fun. Like, there's not a lot of specific moments I can point out. Like, oh yeah, this was a great standout, but it's a nice little bit of.
It's a bunch of it's a couple of veterans fucking about.
Yeah, it's them driving basically from their hotel for the Hall of Fame to the stadium for Wrestlemania, which, because it's New York traffic, takes them like 2 hours. And
so that would have been Billy Gunn, X-Pac, and Road Dogg.
Yeah. And I think the opening of that is kind of the best part, where first they spray paint their rental car with DX and Suck It and one other thing that's a DX thing that I forgot. And then they talk about being inducted into the Hall of Fame, and there's a moment where it cuts to footage of Billy Gunn on the red carpet going up to Vince McMahon, and he's like, hey pal. He's clearly scared shitless because of AEW.
Oh, him and that pissant company.
Yeah.
Oh fuck, we got to bring that. This is more or less to remind you that one of us needs to bring that up with the Cody fucking promo later.
Mm-hmm.
But speaking of blast from the past comedy stylings with Miz and Mrs., Kushida joined NXT.
Yeah, I fucking like what a great get for them that totally came out of nowhere. Like I'm sure New Japan fans like knew he was leaving and he's probably going to WWE or maybe AEW, but like I hadn't heard very much about it, and this is one of those guys where I'm not a New Japan guy, but I have heard of him before. So I was pretty excited to see what he would bring to the table. And he's had his first match already as of this recording, and it was pretty solid stuff. Nice bit of like bringing Cassius Ohno to do the thing Cassius Ohno does in NXT of be a heel, but be there to kind of put over the new young people.
Yep. And I'm glad that they're letting him keep not exactly the whole aesthetic of Back to the Future, but parts of it.
Mm-hmm. And
they're not completely repackaging him.
And just whenever they talk about him, Mario Ranallo just barfs Back to the Future terminology all over the microphone. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
Like that introduction before his match, I swear to God, he got every freaking reference you could out. And then he was so excited to say hoverboard lock. I loved it.
Yeah, he's gonna be He's gonna be there for a while though, because I
Yeah.
definitely don't think anybody at NXT wants to give him up to the main roster.
Oh yeah.
Just because of everything that's been going on.
He's probably going to win every title they have except for the women's before they let him go up. Maybe one of them twice.
Dude, North American champion twice.
Did you watch the video that was behind the scenes of his debut that went up on the Performance Center YouTube channel?
No. By the way, anybody who's a fan of wrestling and watching this and has watched to this point in time in the podcast, go subscribe to the WWE Performance channel, Performance Center channel. It's fucking great.
Yeah, it's just like really nice little mini documentaries. You get like one to free a week, and it's wonderful. And
it feels totally less corporate than traditional WWE material. It feels very much like they hired like a couple documentary people just to hang around and do whatever video they want to make.
Mm-hmm. And like there's not much particular to say about the video about Kushida's debut, but there's this really great humble little moment he has right after talking to the camera at the very end of the video where he's like, yes, that was satisfying. I'm feel fulfilled. Life is happy. Life is full. And I'm like, oh, I want to give you a big hug.
He is the less weird version of Nakamura.
Yeah, probably.
But the way we found out Kushida is at NXT is he was in a suit in the front row of WWE NXT TakeOver New York. Because we can't call it Brooklyn 5.
For some reason.
This was probably the most solid bit of time during WrestleMania weekend.
Yeah, and it was also very stressful for us because we spent the entire first two matches just trying to get Rabbit working before we gave up and just decided, fuck it, we'll both pull it up separately and try and sync.
Yeah. That was on me. That was me.
Yeah, but we did catch the highlights of those first two matches. Like we saw the whole goodbye for Aleister Black and Ricochet, which was really cute. I liked that they did that.
Yeah, but going through the card, the first one we have is Viking War Raiders Machine versus Aleister Black and Ricochet.
Oh, yeah, it was
Oh wait, no, I got the name wrong. It's Viking War Raiders Machine Experience.
God damn it. Yeah, that was a pretty good match from what we saw. I mean, I didn't have because it was WrestleMania weekend.
That man did a cartwheel. That's all you need to know.
Yeah,
that man did a cartwheel.
Pretty much.
It's great. War Raiders. We'll get to that in a second, but poof. Next match, Velveteen Dream versus Matt Riddle.
That was a very, very solid match. Nothing super impressive, but it was a solid match.
It was a great match to showcase Matt Riddle's other sides to his character, because we hadn't really seen that yet because he was very much in his element and very in control in previous matches. And this time it's very much, no, this is Matt Riddle at his A game, and he is aggressive and he is violent and he is going to go for your throat. Yeah.
Like there's a couple spots where he gets like really red-faced and is like almost baring his teeth, and that was pretty cool to see.
Like anything Velveteen Dream did to him, Matt Riddle got out and had a counter. Like he was just on the ball as a sportman.
Yeah.
So that was great. It was for the WWE North American Champion.
And
but Velveteen Dream, I think it was with a roll up.
Yeah, that's right. It was.
Next comes the slaps her from fucking space. Walter versus Pete Dunne for the.
I think this was a lot of people's match of the night.
Oh, because it fucking you felt Walter's chops.
Yeah, it was a great showing for Walter. I'm glad that he's champion now. I don't think it wasn't particularly my kind of match, but but it was neat to see like the best that that format, the British strong style, I believe it is, has to offer.
Yeah. Now Walter is champion, and he has a stable, Imperium.
Yeah, I don't know if that's debuted on NXT UK TV yet. I still pop in and out of it, so.
But basically, the Alexander Wolf, because Sanity fucking dismantled. God damn it. Wolf was brought over to NXT UK to be a member of that because on the independent scene, he was a member of Walter's stable.
Well, that's cool.
So yeah, they were just kind of like, "Hey, we're sorry about Sanity. Do you want to go back and hang out with your friends?"
He's like, yes, that would be nice.
Next match is Shayna Baszler versus Io Shirai, Bianca Belair, and Kairi Sane.
What an insane clusterfuck of a match!
You could almost say it was Kairi Sane.
I'm gonna fucking chuck things at you from all the way over here.
But again, it's a solid fucking match. It sucks that it's that's the curse of the women's match on takeovers. They always come after the big, hard hitting, draining match. So
Yeah,
they're always just as good, but they never feel as good because you're going like, oh god.
and I know I say this every time she comes up, but I am just not into Shayna Baszler, and I'm getting really tired of seeing her every takeover. So, like, the best part of this for me was the moment when they actually followed through on what they said in a promo, and Kyrie and Io just started fighting each other for a few minutes while the other two were down.
Just had a pure Japanese Joshi match.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was just, all right, we're in Japan now. Fuck you guys. Oh man. But yeah. But now Kairi Sane is on the main roster, tagging with Asuka.
We're talking about that now instead of when the shakeup happens?
No, we're gonna talk about then, but like I just wanted to mention it now because this was Kairi Sane's last chance to get the belt again, so she lost.
Well, technically that was on NXT TV, but we talk about we'll talk about that later.
Yep. And the last match of the card, the main event: Johnny Gargano, Johnny Wrestling, Johnny Takeover versus Adam Cole,
Baby.
For a 2 out of 3 falls match, and
what a solid little thing. I mean, like, I'm sure
it's the Avengers Endgame of takeover matches.
There's a lot of people who I'm sure were just not happy with this because it wasn't actually Tommaso versus Gargano the final. But you know what? I am satisfied with the way they ended this. I'm happy Johnny is champion now. I want that shirt. The bit where he just spends the last 5 minutes of the show walking around the stadium, being happy was so great. And freaking, he's right behind me, isn't he?
Yeah. I love how Johnny incorporated some of Tommaso Ciampa's moveset in this match.
Mm-hmm.
It was really good and solid. I've heard some complaints that it didn't need to be a 2 out of 3 falls match, but I think it was a 2 out of 3 falls match to make it feel more like a sportsman competition than storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
Because they wanted to add an element that wasn't there because he can't fight Gargano, he's fighting Cole, so it just needs that element, that feel of, okay, we need to have something here to take place of that deep grudge. Let's make it a more sportsman-like competition.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
Not the best takeover ever, but a pretty solid show. I still like War Games 2 the best out of the takeovers I have seen.
Yeah. War Games is always fucking banger.
Mm-hmm.
WWE Chronicle, Charlotte Flair, because I can't find the segue. That's Ollie
That
Davis's
thing
realm.
that aired right after Takeover, and my God, what a great little episode of Chronicle, getting to see a completely different side of Charlotte, which it was kind of a double-edged sword, because it was nice getting to see Charlotte just be a regular person and show a little bit of vulnerability and all that. But at the same time, I'm sitting there going, like, they're trying to make me really like and believe in her. But the thing is, I've learned whenever somebody who's currently a champion gets a chronicle right before a pay-per-view, it means they're about to lose their belt.
Yeah. I really like the moment at the beginning where she was reflecting near her brother's grave.
Yeah, that was a strong opener.
Because that's the inspiration for starting to wrestle. It was, oh shit, my brother who loved this died. I need to clean up my act. Might as well wrestle.
Yeah, and it's a really good kind of couple days for Charlotte, even though she ended up losing the belt. I feel like she went from in this period of time has gone from being sort of a nostalgia act, sort of like, well, she's part of the Four Horsewomen, and her and Becky have a long-standing friendship rivalry thing, so you kind of have to be into her character. To no, she's a legitimately interesting and great athlete, and hey, she's not Ric Flair's daughter; he's Charlotte Flair's dad.
Yeah. And that's a thing Ric Flair has been going on about. He loves the fact that he can just go, no, I'm Charlotte Flair's dad.
Yeah.
He's more proud of her legacy than he will ever be of his own, and that's heartwarming.
And the bit in the documentary where she talks about, like, every morning after a pay-per-view or a TV show, the first thing she sees is she grabs her phone and there's a text from Rick saying, like, "Hey champ, great job last night. That was a really cool match." It's like, aw.
Yeah, it's gonna be a sad day when Ric Flair passes away.
Oh yeah, he's kind of the Stan Lee of wrestling.
They're gonna have to do a 20 woo salute.
Yes.
Like, it's gonna be so weird, but all the wrestlers on stage are just going to have to stand there. Bell rings, bing, woo! Oh man, that should be the end sound when for Then Now Forever. At the end of it, they do the whole little promo package. Then Now Forever, and you just hear faintly in the background, woo!
Yeah, that'd be tight.
But speaking of legacy, we have the Hall of Fame 2019 class.
Yeah, this was my first time actually sitting through a Hall of Fame show, and there's some things, but it was a good watch, I'd say.
I watched some clips. Harlem Heat got in, so now Booker T is a 2-time Hall of Famer.
Mm-hmm. It's really interesting how Booker T came out and he said, listen, I know you guys know me better, but I kind of just got into wrestling because I wanted to be like my big brother. So I'm just going to let my brother tell the story of how we became Harlem Heat. And then Stevie Ray has the entire rest of the speech.
Yeah, Booker T strikes me as a guy who's like very gracious and very humble of where he is and where he's been.
Mm-hmm.
We have who was the woman entry? I can't remember her name.
Oh God, neither can I.
Kathy? No.
To Google.
Yeah. WWE Hall of Fame 2019. Okay, we have inductees. We have Tori Wilson.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. There wasn't I don't know anything about Tori going into it, but her speech was fine. It interesting getting to learn a little bit about the behind the scenes of women's wrestling in that era, and her like making a crack about the Undertaker. Like she said, oh god, now I forgot the Undertaker's wife's name.
Michelle McCool.
Yeah, she was like, Michelle McCool was my road wife long before the Undertaker got his hands on her.
Other inductees include the Honky Tonk Man.
Yeah. I have a weird soft spot for the Honky Tonk Man, despite how much he seems to despise WWE and the Hall of Fame. But getting to see him again and goof around and sing his song one last time was kind of fun.
Yeah. I've heard one thing. Jim Cornette once said, "Why does everybody look at the Honky Tonk Man as a great Intercontinental Champion? The reason he was a good character was because he was a crap Intercontinental Champion. He wasn't good. He wasn't a good fighter." And I think at the time that's true. But now looking back, he was a great Intercontinental Champion because he perfected and executed that storyline so thoroughly and so regularly.
The thing is, like, I think Jim Cornette's looking at it from a technical perspective when he says that, not to put words in his mouth, but the reason people say he was a great Intercontinental Champion is because they're thinking of the story. They're not thinking of what he actually did.
Yeah. Brutus the Barber Beefcake.
Really, really interesting speech from him, because Brutus is one of those guys who I always hear about, but I knew next to nothing about. So getting to hear him talk about like the early days of working the territories alongside Hulk Hogan and then coming to WWE with him, and like at first being terrified of the fact that he had been given the barber gimmick, and Hulk literally just came up to him and said, no, you just put guys in a sleeper hold and then you shave their heads. That was a really cool bit of storytelling to hear. Also, I'd never heard his theme song before, and I fucking love it.
We talked about Harlem Heat. The posthumous induction of Jim Neidhart through the Hart Foundation.
Yeah. So, do we just want to go straight for the elephant in the room?
I think we should like at least mention it was nice to see this guy who is a classic legacy WWE, WWF guy inducted, father to a current star in the company. It's great. It was nice to see Bret Hart up and about, reminiscing, being cool because he's Bret to the Hitman Hart. And then a fuckface happened.
Yeah, some jackass tackled him, just freaking jumped the barricades and started attacking Bret Hart and had to be pulled off him by literally everybody else in the building.
Like, you look at the clip because people were filming it. You saw Braun Strowman, Dash Wilder, Ronda Rousey's husband, who himself is an MMA fighter. Kofi Kingston, you had fucking Andrade Cien Almas. You like everybody saw that happen, jumped up, went to the ring, and were like, "Fuck this guy."
Yeah, I believe Dash actually, was it Dash or Scott Dawson who like fucking clocked him in the face?
It's the one of the Revival who has hair, which I think is Dash.
Yeah. Have you heard at all about like what this guy's apparent motive for it was?
Nah, man.
Now this is just going off of one Wrestle Talk video I saw. Apparently he's an extreme right-wing anti-feminist nut who was pissed off that the main event was women.
Oh, of course.
And so he thought the best way to say that's not a good thing is to attack a 70-year-old man who's already been through a stroke.
Yeah, but hey, did you? He had his nose punched in, so fuck him.
Yeah, And like,
punch a Nazi.
full credit to Bret Hart. Guy got up, finished his speech, and literally incorporated a thing about saying like, well, yeah, being a heel in the 80s is tough. And that has nothing on it.
But and pretty much the main event of this Hall of Fame induction was D-Generation X.
Holy crap!
Every member of D-Generation X except Robert Roode.
Is Robert Roode still alive?
I'm not sure.
Because I was gonna say, if he's not alive, why didn't they have him? Except that he's
because he was a manager. He was the manager. He wasn't a member of D-Generation X.
Yeah, and from what I hear, he disappears very quickly. Like I was watching a bunch of DX clips leading up to this, just to sort of refamiliarize myself with them. And literally the way I found out Robert Roode was a member of DX was through that. And he's just standing in the background of one of their promos, and I'm like, is that fucking Robert Roode? And then like they're listing off the members at the end of the promo, and they say Robert Roode, and I'm like, okay. But
an induction for Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Billy Gunn, Road Dogg, X-Pac, and Chyna. Finally, just going like, you know what, we did her dirty.
Yeah, there was a whole bit where they were like, Chyna's sister was in the audience, and they were like had a moment where they were talking directly to her, like, we know Chyna would have wanted to be here, and we're sorry that it took this long.
Yeah. It's nice. It goes a little bit of a way to kind of fix the whole fucky thing that happened with Chyna.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, very funny. They did a lot of dick jokes.
Yeah, fucking the erectile dysfunction joke with the Super Soakers completely got me, just because I was not expecting it from a modern WWE thing.
Yeah. Oh man, it just felt fresh. It felt different.
And then stuff like them, like going, you can't say Vince McMahon. What? Don't say Vince McMahon. I can't say Vince McMahon? Yeah, don't say Vince McMahon. Or, is boobs okay? Can we get a check on boobs in the truck? That was great.
It felt very much like Triple H was like, all right, guys, I'm actually in control now somewhat. We can get away with a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Also, AEW jokes aplenty.
Yeah. Hey, Billy, really nice of you to be here. We were really glad you could fly out to New York to be all in for this induction.
And Billy Gunn going like, hey, he can't fire me now. And he's like, and Triple H just looks at him and goes like, Vince McMahon will just buy that pissant company just to fire you. Remember that word, pissant. It's the word of the month.
Fucking where's Bray Wyatt when you need him?
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
But as always precedes, always afterseeds a WrestleMania, a Hall of Fame is, goddamn, can I talk? WrestleMania 35 coming straight from New York City.
The show that took me 3.5 hours. Took me 3.5 days to watch this fucking thing in its entirety.
Yeah. It's a fucking thing. It
is not a WrestleMania is no longer a destination. It is a journey in and of itself.
Yep.
So shall we just go down the card?
On the pre-show of a 7-hour total show, remember, 7 hours for the regular show, 2-hour pre-show.
I'm sorry. I gotta keep it together. Fuck.
Okay. Tony Nese defeats Buddy Murphy for the Cruiserweight Champion, defeating Buddy Murphy's long reign.
Yeah, cool. Does anyone give a fuck about this belt or 205 in general?
I would care more. I care about the guys because they do great work, and I want to care about the belt. But I I don't want to have to go out of my way just to watch it. I would rather it just be part of the show.
Yeah, 205 and the Cruiserweight title. The thing is, like, I really want to like it because I like a lot of those superstars, to use their buzzword.
Don't play into their game.
But the storylines just aren't there. It just, a lot of the times, it just feels like a random collection of matches with maybe a couple of storyline things thrown in there. And most of it just tends to go in circles because they have such a small talent pool. And the only real solution to that is to get rid of the show, make the belt a floating belt, and put these people on Raw and SmackDown. But then it's like, how do they not get lost in the shuffle of Raw and SmackDown? Because Raw and SmackDown have really bloated rosters.
Second match of the pre-show. 17-woman WrestleMania Battle Royale. Women's blah. Carmella wins. She beats
Didn't watch it, don't give a fuck.
Third pre-match, blah, blah, blah. Tag team for the WWE Raw Championships. Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder defeat The Revival.
Yes, this was the one match from the pre-show I actually went out of my way to watch, because when I heard those guys broke the losing streak, I was so happy, because I think anybody who likes those guys likes them for the same reason we do. They make a good fucking podcast.
Yeah. Fourth match of the pre-show. Braun Strowman wins a 30-man Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal by defeating Saturday Night Live boy.
Who the fuck cares?
No one, and we won't care at all. Okay, first match of the actual show.
Yay!
Because, hey, storyline thing, the final match of this card is a women's match, not a Brock Lesnar match. And Brock Lesnar is, quote-unquote, pissed at this storyline. So Paul Heyman comes out and goes like, hey, if he's not going on last, he's coming on first.
Before that, Alexa Bliss comes out. She goes, I'm the host. I can do whatever I want. Here's Hulk Hogan for 5 seconds. Okay, bye.
And he poses for 20.
And I love that he got the name of the stadium wrong again while he was making a joke about the fact that he always gets the name of stadiums wrong.
God damn. You know what would make all that fucking work? And I might forgive Hulk Hogan a little bit. Make him a tag team with R-Truth.
Yes.
Have the same gimmick.
Do a joke that, like, Hulk Hogan is starting to go senile, and R-Truth is the only one who cared enough to try and help him.
No, and you have moments of Hulk Hogan goes, yeah, we're in this stadium. No, we're in this stadium. Oh, right, you're right, Truth. And they're both wrong. But Paul Heyman comes out and says, hey, motherfuckers, if Brock Lesnar ain't going on last, he's coming on first, so we can get out of this piece of shit place. So Seth Rollins going up against Brock Lesnar, the WWE Universal Championship, starts off with Brock Lesnar beating the shit out of Seth Rollins before the bell even rings.
This was a squash match until it wasn't.
This was a squash match until it became a squash match.
Yes. Through the power of Dick Punch.
Oh, man. Basically, Brock Lesnar beats up Seth Rollins before the match even starts. Bell rings. Seth Rollins punches Brock Lesnar in the dick. 1 curb stomp. 2 curb stomp. 3 curb stomp. 1, 2, 3. And we now have a new Universal Champion. Hasn't made Raw any better, but...
Kind of a disappointing match. Really satisfactory result.
Yeah. The match only lasted 2.5 minutes.
Just tuning into... I know we're going to talk about this as well, but just tuning into Raw that next night and seeing the crowd chant full-time champ was like, yes!
The next match on the card, AJ Styles versus Randy Dandy Orton.
So, Shall we do the thing?
What's the thing you're talking about?
Turn the lights off.
Dude, I am tired. Can you just not be coy with a joke?
Turn the lights off.
Oh, that.
Turn the lights off.
Yeah, the light was hitting the crowd in a funny way. And it got in their eye. And Randy Orton's been making jokes about it.
Yeah, nobody could actually see the match who wasn't watching it at home. Like, the people who were actually there could not see the match. That's what I should have said.
And it was a good match.
It was a pretty solid little match. I like the storyline was definitely way more interesting than the payoff, because it's just like, okay, AJ wins because he's obviously going to have more time at this company than Randy currently has left. But yeah, it was fine. I wish there'd maybe been a bit of follow-up to it, but they couldn't do it because of a thing we'll get into later.
The next match, the Usos versus Aleister Black and Ricochet versus Rusev and Shinsuke Nakamura, and versus The Bar tag team for the WWE SmackDown Tag Team Championship.
Matt and Jeff weren't there, so I went and took a piss.
Come on, the Usos are great.
Yeah, they're good boys, but they set up on TV that it would be Matt and Jeff versus them, and then they chickened out and then did it on the show after, which really annoyed me.
Yeah. But this also may have been the last match of Sheamus.
What do you mean by that?
He's injured right now.
Oh, I had no idea. Because there's still content coming out on his workout channel.
Yeah, he's injured, and it may be a wrestling career-ending injury.
Oh, damn.
And it's been going on and getting progressively worse last year.
That really kind of sucks. It would suck to see him go.
Yeah, but hey, he had a great career.
Indeed.
But the Usos win and retain. Next match on the card, Shane McMahon versus The Miz in a Falls Count Anywhere match.
What a fun little bit of insanity.
Yeah, it was a punch 'em up fest.
Fucking his dad getting in the ring, which apparently wasn't planned. He just decided to do that, and then Shane was like, okay, I'll go with it.
Yeah. I have a feeling they were supposed to interact, but then they were like, hey, I'm going to do a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And they probably were like, oh, okay, this works. It fits. They weren't pissed. They probably had a stern talking like, hey, you were fine, but don't do this ever fucking again. Got it?
Yeah, and he's like, yeah, I fucked up my hip. Sorry.
But yeah, it was a fun match. Shane won, but Miz had the moral victory.
Yeah, and then that storyline kept going for some reason.
I think it's going to end at, it's not Backlash anymore, it's something else, but...
Money in the Bank is the next show.
Yeah, okay.
That's when that match is scheduled for. We'll talk about that later.
Next match, the Iconics versus Boston Hug Connection, which is a dumbass name, Nia and Tamina, and Beth Phoenix and Natalya, for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship. The Iconics win, and they're fucking great.
I was happy to see the Iconics win. It was a little bit of a swerve to me because I thought since they brought the Legend back that she would get the belts for a month or two. But it's cool to see them win because they have a storyline that WWE isn't playing into at all, of being like childhood friends who came up in the industry together. It's weird that the entire time they've said this is going to be a belt that's going to be for every brand, and yet there was no one from NXT in here, but I guess we have to put the Samoans over.
Yeah. Oh boy.
But also, hey, I don't know if you've seen the latest Botchamania or not, but apparently the way the Iconics win is complete and total bullshit because they weren't legal.
Oh god.
and they haven't acknowledged that at all yet.
Then they never will. Next match. Kofi Kingston versus Daniel Bryan for the WWE Championship.
Match of the night! Match of the night!
It was damn good.
Yeah, just fucking everything Daniel did, Kofi had a counter for it, and vice versa. And it was just such a solid bout. Like, really, really good storytelling in the ring. And then the feel-good moment of Kofi winning, saying fuck you to the organic belt and bringing out the old one. And then his kids get in the ring and celebrate with him. Oh.
Oh, yeah. It was a great main event, and then we had a completely second WrestleMania.
Yeah. Kinda.
Samoa Joe versus Rey Mysterio for the WWE United States Champion. It was a squash. Samoa Joe won in like a minute.
Yeah. Kind of disappointing, but also like that entire feud was mishandled, so who cares?
Yeah, and it made Samoa Joe look big and tough.
The only really like highlight of that entire storyline, I think I could say, is we got to see Rey Mysterio wear a Mysterio costume.
Rey Mysterio, like, it's so good. Roman Reigns defeats Drew McIntyre. It was a big Roman Reigns match. He was fine. It was good. I like Roman Reigns now. He's cool.
I think everybody kind of likes him now, but the storylines they're giving him are pretty bland.
But he's gonna get better storylines on SmackDown, hopefully, as I wait on bated breath.
Fingers crossed, dude.
Next, Triple H defeats Batista in a no-holds-barred match.
Oof. I was so excited for this match, and I wouldn't call it bad, but boy, was it a letdown. It real like...
It was meticulous.
I kind of wish Triple H had lost just so he could retire, because ever since Crown Jewel, he's been coming off more and more like a slow old guy who really shouldn't be in the ring anymore.
Yeah, but it was nice for Batista to have one last match in the way he wanted to.
And what a freaking classy move of him to retire at Mania but not announce it until after the match, because another guy was doing it and he wanted him to have the spotlight.
Yeah, Batista, man. Can't wait for Guardians 3.
Mm-hmm.
Where James Gunn is back. Because we don't have any other podcast where we can just do that. Because I'm just excited that James Gunn is back.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the MCU podcast. Over. Next match, Baron Corbin defeated Kurt Angle.
I'm done. It was not good. We're not very happy with the outcome of that match.
Baron Corbin is such a weird guy. Because, like, yeah, he's getting heat, and he's a bad guy, and he's a heel. He's getting hated, but it's like he's getting hated because he fucking looks like he works at TGIF Fridays.
And he's also just not a particularly good wrestler. Like, he has
good spots. He has great spots, but it's connecting those spots that he has trouble with.
He's an adequate worker who feels like he should be a mid-card guy, but more often than not gets pushed to the front, and it's weird.
It's because he's tall.
Like, the last time I liked him was when he first did the thing as general manager of, like, oh, I got the rules wrong. This is a fucking no DQ match. Restart it. That was the last time I liked him, just because that came out of nowhere and made me laugh.
But yeah, Finn Balor goes head to head with Bobby Lashley for the WWE Intercontinental Championship.
Couple spoopy boys going all out.
Yeah.
Finn
Balor changed up his moveset as a demon this time, though. So maybe they're going to start using the demon more. Who knows?
Yeah. I do kind of wish that Bobby would wear those contacts all the time, though. They were awesome.
But yeah, it was a quick, solid match just to get the belt on Balor.
Mm-hmm.
Next though is the main event: Becky Lynch versus Ronda Rousey versus Charlotte Flair for the WWE Raw Women's Champion and the WWE SmackDown Women's Champion.
I love how their entrances all fit their characters perfectly to a T. Charlotte, she has this big, showy, badass entrance that's a homage to a thing her father did way back in the day. Ronda, big, badass, I've got a band here, I'm coming out like a badass, I'm gonna give a little smile because that's apparently part of my character too. Becky, just play my music and I'm gonna walk out.
Because she knew she was gonna win.
Mm-hmm.
She had the confidence to go like, I don't need anything to intimidate. My face intimidates.
And
you little weirdo.
And I know this might be semi-inappropriate to say, but Becky's new ring gear is hot as fuck.
It's much better than the weird onesie she was wearing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, do you have anything to say about the match itself, or should we just talk about the finish?
Like, the most of the match is good.
Yeah.
But it's like having a fart after the end of a nice dinner.
Sorry.
But it's like having a fart at the end of a nice dinner.
Yeah. Hashtag tables are for bitches.
God damn it.
That was hilarious.
Tables are for bitches! You better not hear the Dudleys say that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm happy Becky won. I'm happy she's got both the belts for now. Weird how they didn't acknowledge that fucky finish at all, though.
Yeah, it feels like, from what I heard, it wasn't planned, but something happened and they had to call it that way.
It's especially glaring because on commentary, I think it's Corey Graves goes like, oh, look, her shoulders weren't down. They're going to have to restart the match. And then nobody says anything after that.
Yeah, it definitely feels like something wasn't, not necessarily botched, but something was miscommunicated and everybody kind of got off the page and tried to figure out.
Mm-hmm. And apparently that official was like, got a super duper fine over that because, like, that wasn't supposed to be the story going around is that the finish was supposed to be Charlotte submitting to Becky. And the ref counted that, and he wasn't supposed to, but he did it because refs in WWE are supposed to call matches like they're real. And he fought, and so they don't know how things are actually going to go for the most part. And so he just counted that because it looked like it was the finish to him. And then Vince was like, no, you fucking idiot. You're not getting $5,000 or something like that.
Yeah. It's disappointing, but to me, it doesn't take away from the rest of the match.
Mm-hmm.
It was still good.
And the moment afterwards where Becky's up on the ropes and you can clearly say, where's my ma, was great if you know some Becky's history.
Becky's just great.
Mm-hmm.
Give me all the Irish people in WWE.
Yeah.
But yeah, next came a couple house shows that didn't really affect anything after WrestleMania.
Oh, is that how we're gonna think of that Raw and SmackDown forever now?
I mean, that's what happened. Hey, look at all this dumb shit we're doing because it doesn't matter.
Yeah, because we need to have a Raw and SmackDown, but there's only like 3 people who are actually capable of doing stuff right now.
Yeah. I mean, we got a couple like, oh man, wouldn't this be interesting? Wouldn't this be interesting? But then they kind of went like, yeah, we're not doing that. Sorry.
Yeah, freaking winner take all match in Raw, and then the bar interrupts, and it becomes a tag team match.
Playa.
Why?
Who knows? Who cares? It was dumb. It wasn't fun.
And that crowd chanting bullshit just immediately was like, ooh, ooh. And apparently, like, they immediately got muted. But if you watch cell phone videos, they start chanting AEW. And then they take out beach balls because crowds gonna be crowds.
Yeah, yep.
The only other real notable thing is the video that happened after Raw went off the air, where Seth and Roman say goodbye to Dean
for the 5th time in a row.
Yeah, which was pretty touching. Good, nice of Seth to, when he knows he's safe, go ahead and call the crowd and just be like, I saw your beach balls. I know y'all are ready to party, so let's get the boys out here.
But hey, we got a table for 3 that I actually watched.
Yeah, what a good solid little episode of just some nice young boys who are living the good life, talking about their lives.
Talking about being on the independent scene, going like, hey, it's nice that we are like average height dudes, but are like actually being treated well.
Mm-hmm. And freaking Johnny Gargano telling the story of that one time he was on SmackDown.
Oh yeah, it's fucking great. And how he realizes, oh wait a second, I'm still that champion.
Yeah.
And technically in WWE kayfabe, I think in WWE kayfabe, they're distant cousins.
That's great.
I think that's what I would do. That's what I would have it be.
They should at some point do a vignette where they just green screen 2 Johnny Garganos onto the footage and have them have not a match between each other, but like a moment of like, oh, hi cousin, I see you're a champion too.
Yes, hello, I am champion.
What's the weather like in Von Liechtenstein right now? Oh, not too good. A volcano went off and destroyed the entire village, but I made it out fine.
That's good. Gentlemen Jack Gallagher and Drew Gulak split and broke up and now have to share their custody of their dog.
The one interesting thing to happen on 205 this month, I wrote it down. Drew Gulak's whole make 205 Live great again thing kind of not going so well for him right now. He had a moment where he was trying to get Humberto Carrillo to be a part of his stable, and like they were courting him like a bunch of teenage fangirls, and that was fun. And then it didn't work out, and Jack was just like, I'm sick of this shit, and beat the crap out of him.
He's so handsome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Superstar Shakeup.
Yeah. So do we just want to go for the big experience in the room? The War Raiders got called up as the Viking Experience. They also got individual name changes. They stole an art asset from Skyrim. No one likes this. Everyone thinks it's stupid. And luckily, the next week, WWE changed their name to the Viking Raiders.
Hey. That was a fucking dumb gag.
Yeah. God, probably the worst thing to happen this entire month in kayfabe.
Oh God, it was so dumb. The only thing more, hey, we're gonna make a change. Oh wait, no, we take it back. Happen faster is the Sonic the Hedgehog design.
Yeah, I just realized that both of those things happened in the same month. Oh wow,
it's the Hedgehog experience. Now I need to fucking make it.
That's the one good thing to come out of this is that everyone kind of got a month of doing the same joke and all being able to laugh at it, of putting the word experience at the end of a sentence.
Yep. And now I need to make a Sonic the Hedgehog movie Viking experience meme. But yeah, Aleister Black's on SmackDown, so is Andrade, so Elena Vega. And it's partially because they wanted to keep Zelina Vega and Aleister Black, who's a married couple, together. But also, Charlotte Flair gets whatever she wants, and she wanted her boy toy.
Yeah, because of course. But you know what? This is a good thing.
Yeah, they're better on SmackDown. It's good, but Ricochet is lost in the land of red. Finn Balor's on SmackDown, and Samoa Joe's on Raw.
That was interesting that they switched those titles, especially because the U.S. title for the longest time was known as the SmackDown mid-card title.
Yeah, I have a feeling Finn's going to do better on SmackDown.
Mm-hmm.
Bunch of other things happened. No one really cares because
the only thing I can really think about is or a thing that we haven't talked about. Miz went to Raw, got his licks in on Shane, and you thought that was going to be the end of the storyline, and then they kept it going for some reason, even though
it
Shane's
was me,
not
Dio.
supposed to. Yeah.
But yeah. But we did have one guy come back. Bray Wyatt, or should I say Eric Bray. That's a dumb joke. Bray Wyatt came back, and his gimmick is now Evil Mr. Rogers.
And it's kind of the best thing ever.
It's the only thing watchable on Raw right now.
Mm-hmm. And that's because it's not live or being completely controlled by Vince McMahon.
Vince McMahon probably has no idea why it's being popular right now.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, there has been 2 skits of Bray Wyatt in basically a kids show set, and he's just like, "Hey kids, ha!" But he always goes like, "Remember, sociopath," or he cuts up an old standee of himself with a chainsaw, and there's a witch puppet.
There's a witch puppet named Abby. We found out Bird Raptor's real name is Mercy the Buzzer,
which is a reference to an older wrestler character.
Mm-hmm. And then we got Ramblin' Rabbit in the second segment because him poking fun at the fact that when he started out as a wrestler, he had really rambly promos.
Yep. And it looks like it's going to be very, very fun and very, very inventive. So
God,
far,
I hope they don't fuck it up. It seems like they're.
How much money you want to bet that he's going to wrestle with the puppets?
It's a real wait and see kind of a thing because like they're playing it in the same way they played those NXT call-ups earlier in the year of the segment plays on both shows, so you don't know where he's going to go. Though, honestly, I would be willing to put down money that he's going to be on Raw just because SmackDown has those segments of Aleister Black talking about himself and his philosophy, which have been fucking great. So I'm willing to bet that's setting up him getting a push on SmackDown, and then because they show up on Raw first, the Bray segments are probably to set up him getting a push on Raw.
Yep, but they're excellent and probably the only thing worth watching on Raw, which is the only thing I watch. So
it also just shows like I was thinking about that second segment the other day, and it really brought to the forefront how dependent wrestling is on knowledge of its history at this point. Because there's so much in there that it's like, now if I'm going to explain this segment to somebody who doesn't know Bray Wyatt, I have to backtrack and talk about 5 different things now. Like that painting alone was like a 10-minute side tangent in my head.
Yep. Next up, we're going to talk about my evil skankin' boy, which makes me so depressed that he's on Raw because I'd much rather watch him every week on SmackDown.
Yeah, Sammy came back. And he's basically being a big old chuckle fuck, saying, "Hey, I'm back. It's not great to be back. You guys are stupid. I don't like you."
Like I said, my evil skankin' boy.
Mm-hmm.
But Kevin Owens has been kind of a good boy temporarily.
For like 5 minutes.
1 3/4 of an episode.
Yeah. So here's the thing. I was really excited about this when it happened, and then they went in the most obvious, boring direction they possibly could with it, and kind of play it off like, oh, Kevin Owens gonna be Kevin Owens. It's that wacky Kevin Owens again. And then when that happened, the next day, behind the scenes information came out of like, well, the reason this happened is we didn't know if Daniel Bryan would be ready to go again in time for Money in the Bank. So Kevin had to turn heel, even though we had plans for him to come back and be like an everyman sort of guy who has problems with his friends and family, and there'd be fat jokes and stuff like that. And I'm like, yeah, that angle would have been way more interesting and refreshing for him as a character and for wrestling as a whole right now.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's very short-sighted booking that's hurting WWE, and I think a lot of people are finally starting to go like, yeah, no, fuck this.
Mm-hmm.
Money in the Bank. We have some matches.
There's Money in your back?
I wish. Money in the Bank.
So yeah, this card is looking to be a pretty solid lineup. Again, this is another weird thing where it's like we're recording right before a big show.
Yeah.
Not the big show, but a big show. It's weird to kind of speculate here, but do you want to do predictions? Set the co-host to the host?
Nah, I'm just like, I'm kind of drained on a lot of things WWE right this moment, and it may also just be because I am tired as balls.
Mm-hmm.
But it just feels very much like I'm not gonna get rewarded for anything.
Yeah, I mean, it would be amazing if Ricochet got the briefcase, but I seriously doubt it'll happen just because of how green he is.
He's not green. He's been wrestling for years. It's more
to the main roster, I mean.
Yeah, he's new.
He's gonna get some amazing spots, but he's not gonna win.
It's gonna piss me off if they give it to Lars Sullivan, though.
If they give it to Lars Sullivan, if they give it to Baron Corbin, if they give it to Drew McIntyre, really, there's like two people who I'd like.
I'd be okay with McIntyre. I'd be okay with McIntyre. McIntyre's okay. I'd be okay with that. Ricochet, I'd be over the moon for. Who was also in it?
I thought Sam was in it.
Robert Roode?
Oh, I'd be okay with Robert Roode winning. Oh, we should talk about his repackaging. It's cool. He's got a mustache. He's evil. I like it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. That's all it is. Okay, hey, remember Bobby Roode at the end of NXT?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's him.
Cool.
That's it. But yeah, it's gonna be a fun match. I just like, no matter who's gonna win the briefcase, they're not gonna do anything with them. That is what they have trained me to think. So,
literally, the only thing I can remember about the women's match is that Alexa Bliss is in it, and she announced it on her show.
Yeah.
My pick for that would be Bayley.
That'd be fun. Yeah. That'd be nice to see. But the Hardy Boys had to vacate their title because Jeff Hardy got hurt.
Yeah, this just sucked so much. Like, it continues the trends, the trend, I mean, of the Hardys kind of getting the short end of the stick, even though they're supposed to be these cool legacy acts right now. And like, there's not really anything that could have been done about this, but like, Matt got injured. He had to stop being woken. He's doing the multifarious thing, but he's not doing it on TV. Him and Jeff are condensed down into a nostalgia act from when they were a tag team back in the day. They tease a match with the Usos at WrestleMania. We don't get that. People get pissed on the internet, so we get it at the Raw and SmackDown after Mania. They get the belts. They immediately cut a promo of like, yeah, we're happy we have the belts, but we want to have tons of matches with the Usos in the future. We want this to be a feud that will just go on forever. The Usos get moved to Raw. Matt Matt and Jeff get injured during a house show, but in kayfabe, it's because Lars Sullivan is going around and rampaging and hurting people and doing bullshit. So they have to vacate their titles.
I thought it was only Jeff got hurt.
Did I say Matt? I meant to say Jeff.
No, you said Matt and Jeff. I think only Jeff got hurt.
Okay, yeah, Jeff got hurt during a dark match, I believe it was, but in kayfabe they said it was Lars Sullivan, and they had to vacate their titles.
It stinks. It hurts and it stings. But nothing can be done. It just stinks that Jeff Hardy was this guy who never got injured, and now he's just having trouble after trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like troubles like that makes him stop wrestling. It's just more of like, what the fuck? How the fuck have you spent most of your life doing this bullshit and only now are getting injured?
Yeah. Especially with Matt just doing so much good character work for them on YouTube, and then it getting completely undermined by either the company not caring or IRL BS.
Yeah. But let's move on to happier things. Dominic Djokovic is challenging for the Velveteen Dreams North American Championship.
Yeah, big scary strong boy is gonna go up against the big flamboyant boy. I'm pretty excited for that.
And Dominic's fucking great.
Yeah.
He's fucking just a dope dude. And I'm glad he's getting a cool push.
It feels like they've been ironing him out at NXT for a while, and now they're like, okay, you're ready. We're going to give you a run towards the belt.
Now push Brennan Williams. Brennan Williams. Give me Brennan Williams on TV every week, all the week. Just give him a segment where he reviews anime on NXT. Give it to me now. Yes. Just make the Insiders streams canon.
That would be great.
But yeah. WWE announces a new pay-per-view for June, Stompin' Grounds.
What a good-ass name for a pay-per-view.
It's better than fucking, hey, we're just going to name the pay-per-view after the general match type we're going to be using.
Mm-hmm. I hope Seth gets some kind of big spotlight because he's the Stompy boy.
Both him and Finn Balor, because Finn does the coup de grace.
Yeah. That's the main event, a champion versus champion match.
Oh, that'd be fun. But more depressing news, WWE has confirmed they're doing another Saudi Arabia show, but this time
from the beautiful progressive city of Jeddah.
All right, we get it. You watch Wrestle Talk. With Goldberg. That's gonna be fucking awkward. That's gonna be really fucking awkward.
I cannot believe. I don't know anything about Goldberg as a person, but like, it just.
Well, for one, the man's Jewish.
Really?
Dude, his fucking name is Goldberg. What the hell do you think he is?
Holy shit. This is like. I can't. That's like. Cause I'm already a guy who gets upset about people being dragged out of retirement for stuff like this, but that on top of it, wow. And did you see?
I mean, hey! I will say this: I don't blame Goldberg. I blame WWE.
Yeah,
Goldberg, get that cheddar, line your pockets. Fucking, you got a chubby son that you want to get him ripped. Do it. Make that money. I believe in you. WWE, fuck you.
Yeah. Like, I've gotta agree with frickin' Dave Meltzer, who said the other day that, like, this is gonna go down as one of the worst decisions in wrestling history.
Yeah. At least it's not as bad as WCW putting on a show in North Korea.
Mm-hmm. Especially because it's sparking controversy, like, frickin'... it's sparking the kind of discussions where people are asking Mick Foley, like, would you do a rematch for that Hell in the Cell match if the Saudis offered you enough money? And he's like, well, I mean, everybody has a price. And I'm like, Mick Foley, don't fucking say that! Do not tempt them!
Yes, but come on, here's the thing, I do not blame any of the wrestlers for taking that money. I do not blame them 1 cent. I do not blame Shawn Michaels for coming out of retirement for that paycheck. I do not blame them. I blame WWE for engaging in this thing, knowing what the Saudi Arabian government has been doing, knowing how it makes the fans feel, and a variety of other things. I blame WWE. So if they offer Mick Foley the money to do it, I am not going to be pissed at Mick Foley. I'm not going to be pissed at them because
I'm not so much pissed at him as I'm like just panicky of it happening, because here's the thing. Mick Foley is an old, greedy-looking man who has said multiple times that his body is completely destroyed because of the stuff he did back in the day. I'm kind of worried that if they were to do that rematch, he would die in the ring.
I hate to put it this way, but poetically, that would be the best thing for Mick Foley to do.
Yeah, it'd be a beautiful I don't want to see that.
I know, I don't want to see that, but it'd be a beautiful moment.
True.
It's a beautiful moment to put on film in a fictitious manner.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way. Also, Leo Rush is a dipshit.
Oh, we're just skipping straight to that, yeah. Fucking, can you believe all of this?
It's, I kind of understand the mentality behind it. You hear all these stories, oh, you gotta grab the brass ring, you gotta be big, you gotta be tough, you gotta impress Vince McMahon, and he's going like, okay, cool, I'll impress Vince McMahon, I'll grab the brass ring, I'm top dog, I'm the shit. But there's a difference between showing your ambition and shitting on everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And he did the second.
Yeah. It's just like...
And so many people have pulled him to the side and said, like, hey, yo, dude, you're fucking up. And he's like, nah, man, I'm good.
Mm-hmm. It's one of those things where when people who are supposed to be your friends pull you to the side and say you're being an asshole, that is not the moment to say, no, fuck you, I'm doing great. That is the moment to go, oh shit, what am I doing wrong?
Especially when Mark fucking Henry does it.
Yeah. Like, did you see the news that came out the other day that, like, they offered him a new contract that was, like, something like $3,000, and he's like, I need double that, and refused to sign it? Because apparently he can't afford to travel and feed his family, even though he's got a pretty lucrative contract already.
It's a lot of I don't know what they're gonna do with him.
There's been rumors that he's gonna get sent back to NXT as punishment, but honestly, at this point, I would not be surprised if they just released him.
Yeah. You know what? He kind of feels like he's going to be the next Low Key.
That's possible.
Because you know all the stuff with Low Key, right?
I know of it.
Yeah. He just went around promotion to promotion, just filling bad blood after bad blood, thinking he's hot shit, and everybody goes like, motherfucker, you're a fuckface. Stop this. Until eventually he just had to clean up his act in order to get any money. Now he's in MLW. He seems to be a much cooler head now, but I don't know. Also, Sasha Banks fucking Thanos herself away.
Yeah, this is just all over the place because apparently her and Bayley weren't happy about losing the tag titles, and depending on who you talk to, either they threw a massive fit or were just kind of like vocal about it. And some people are saying like that Sasha was the one who got really upset and Bayley was kind of not okay with it but wasn't throwing a massive fit. And so now they gave her time off and told her to go get her head clear, but like she's being really aloof about whether she's actually going to come back or not. It is, oh boy.
And I can understand it. It's just WWE has collected so many people. They're gonna have a giant exodus soon.
Yeah.
Like, it just feels like they're at the last gasps of being the only game in town.
They are holding on to it very tightly, and it's not going to go well for them.
I have a feeling what's going to happen is they're not going to go away. They're going to bust a little. They're going to have a new generation era where it's going to be a year or two of with some good things happening. And then they're going to get back on their feet after engaging in competition with AEW.
Mm-hmm. It's entirely possible. We're gonna sit back and see how it goes.
Yep. And speaking of AEW, so the broadcast team has been revealed and announced.
Jim F. Ross.
Yeah. Jim Ross, classic dude.
F. Ross, we were wrong. They're actually going to have him be doing commentary.
I hope he's more transitionary, because he's just an old dude, and maybe doing it more consistently will be better for him, but last couple times he hasn't been the greatest.
That's true.
But maybe doing it consistently will be better.
Mm-hmm. We'll have to wait until Double or Nothing to see how that works out, but pretty crazy.
Yep. We also have some new confirmations of some talent that's going to be signed on. Hikaru Shiba, Darby Allin, Sema, and Private Party.
Hikaru Shiba, she seems cool. Darby Allin looks fucking awesome.
Darby Allin's my guy. Like, he's my AEW Aleister Black.
I don't know much about Chima, but in that episode of Being the Elite, where the Young Bucks announced that he was signed, they did a pretty good job of putting him over. And Private Party seemed like a pretty good tag team in that same sort of vein as the Street Profits.
Yeah. But we already have our next base. Should we call them pay-per-view, or should we call them like prologues? Because they're not pay-per-viewing anything.
I have no idea. It's a really weird situation, but
because basically what they're doing until they get a TV show going is they're just putting on a good couple shows, pay-per-view style, just kind of getting the roster mingling together, trying to figure things out, trying to figure, okay, what is AEW?
Mm-hmm.
And one of those is a giant parody piss take on Fire Festival called Fighter Festival.
Yeah, this whole storyline, because I started watching Being the Elite just last month, is just so much fun with frickin' Kenny Omega just taking the AEW bank account and being like, no, I'm gonna spend it all. We're going all out for this. And the Young Bucks are just like, Kenny, no.
Yeah, and it's gonna be fun. The trailer for it was hilarious.
Yeah.
But that's just a pay-per-view.
I'm definitely signing up for Super Kick training.
And your free complimentary gourmet cheese sandwich.
Yes.
But they'll be able to afford all that money they're spending thanks to the fact that they have a TV show coming onto a Turner channel sometime soon.
I would be willing to put down serious money that it's going to be TNT.
You know what? Especially with the fact that they said, we may have an off season of some kind. They could do it when there's not any basketball going, because TNT has a basketball show on Tuesdays.
Yeah, TNT is either basketball or movies from 5 years ago, depending on the day of the week.
Yeah.
So putting a wrestling show on there could really liven that network up. And I mean, I haven't watched it in a couple of years, but from what I remember, TBS is primarily comedy shows, and I can't think of a single one of them that would mesh good as either going before or after an AEW show.
I mean, TBS also used to air Braves games before Turner sold the Braves.
That's true.
But yeah, they're gonna be on Turner Show in October, so Tuesday Night Dynamite. They've been announcing things for the Fight for the Fallen card, which is a charity show that they're doing up in Jacksonville, Florida.
Yeah, it looks like a pretty good lineup. I'm interested to see the match. I forget who it is, but they announced that what Cody's match is going to be, and I was like, "Ooh, that seems interesting."
Yep. But yeah, it seems like it's going to be a fun thing. It seems like it's going to be cool. But we also have an announcement. They've been talking about having a character called the Librarian on a variety of their multimedia promotional stuff, and they've casted them.
Yep.
There's two of them.
Tony Khan had one request, and they were struggling to find a good person to fit that request, and it ended up that the Young Bucks found somebody they liked, and Cody found somebody he liked, and that's a thing that's going on Being the Elite, and it's pretty interesting. I wonder if it'll continue to carry into the pay-per-views, quote unquote. I would not be surprised if this is just a Being the Elite storyline, and maybe it will conclude on the first episode of their weekly TV show.
You know what I wouldn't mind? If this was a setup for a match, and this was all done just to make it noted that AEW will have intergender matches.
That could be interesting.
Yep. But we have a match. Cody's Double or Nothing opponent has been announced. The Natural Dustin Rhodes.
We all freaking knew it was coming, but oh my god, is this the most satisfying hype shit in the world?
Oh man, it's gonna be fucking great.
Both their promos that announced this were just the best shit in the world.
And speaking of promos, like everybody's promo game this month has just been up to 11 with Bray Wyatt doing his skits and stuff, and just both of the Road Brothers. Like, I have rewatched Cody's fucking promo, and the final bit just gives me chills. It's like a dead horse. You just ride it and ride it and ride it until one day it just can't ride no more, and you have to kill it. So you pull out your gun and you pull the trigger, and you don't do it because you want to. You do it because you love them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to fight my brother. I love my brother. And it's like the implication there is so fucking... It's so good.
Yeah, and the fact that he's talking about, like, he's going to kill the Attitude Era, like, it makes me feel even more strongly that, like, this AEW shit, we're getting this generation's Attitude Era because of it.
And they're going to drag WWE. They're going to drag WWE kicking and screaming into it.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be so interesting. And the fact that he had the balls to, like, reference stuff like the pipe bomb in that promo he gave was like, ah.
Like, and like it was interesting to just like, yeah, sure, The Rock was the most electrifying man in history, but did anything he say ever impacted you more than that pipe bomb?
Mm-hmm.
Or like, yeah, they paved the way, but they put a speed limit sign there, not letting us do our thing. And it's like, god damn.
It's just, he is so good about shit-talking WWE without shit-talking WWE.
And he referenced the pissant comment.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, fuck, dude. If this is how promos are just going to be on AEW in general, I'm going to be extremely happy.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun. But another promo. No, not a promo. And it's a traditional promo. He's promoting something. A certain indie wrestler who's been gone for quite a number of years is making a return onto the scene. A certain John Moxley.
For a second there, I thought you were gonna swerve me and talk about CM Punk being at that house show. But no, this was what a thing to wake up to.
It was Jon Moxley breaking out of a prison that we may be able to call WWE.
And, he walks by a sign for a casino, and there's a certain number of days counted in his cell. And a man by the name of Dean Ambrose might have made a comment about cashing in his chips and going home in an interview, in his final interview in WWE. I wonder what all this could mean. I'm just going to take this sip of water over here and go, WWE is fucking dead to him, and he's going to AEW, and it's going to be such an awkward couple months till his wife's contract runs out.
Oh, man. Everything, here's the thing. AEW is not competing with WWE. AEW is doing its own thing, and WWE is freaking the fuck out.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're used to WCW. They're used to going head-to-head. But they're not used to a company going like, no, you do your thing, we'll do ours. Don't worry. Wait, what? No, we're supposed to be head-to-head. No, I don't hate you. We're going to make references because we're in the same business. It'd be weird not to, but yeah, no, don't worry. You do your thing, we'll do ours. We're not going to poach talent. We're not going to seek them out. We're just going to look at the independent scene and get the guys that aren't really WWE guys and say, but we want them. No, we're good. And WWE is hiring everybody, and like they are playing in the AEW's hands. Like WWE is gonna bust sometime soon. Like it's weird.
Yeah, this is the scary shit looming overhead show while fucky shit goes on underneath.
Yeah. But that was this month in wrestling. So, would you this month of wrestling again?
Hell no, dude. I had an entire week taken up by Wrestlemania bullshit. I need better control over my life. I mean, I'm happy that we got that promo from Cody, and like, fuck, I'm sure something happened. Kofi won. Hey! But really, like, there's so much else I could have done without.
Yeah. Yep. So, same time next month?
Yeah.
Tell them where they can find you.
Hi, I'm Simeon Scott. That's Simeon Scott. The Simeon Scott you know, and maybe you don't know shit about me. I'm just some fucking guy. But you can watch all my fucking videos by going to thatsimeonscott.com. It's a YouTube playlist of every YouTube video I've ever made, because I've made quite a few of them despite not having gained much traction yet. I'm known for playing a character called the Vacuuminator. He's a YouTube analysis boy who gets his life fucked up by other weird, wacky YouTubers sometimes. And you can go and watch those videos at youtube.com/thevacuuminator. You can follow my social media at @thatsimeonscott on Twitter and at @thatsimeonscott with underscores on Instagram. And yeah, that's probably it.
All right. Hi, I'm Boingo Writer. You can find my shit on YouTube at Boingo Writer. You can follow me on Twitter at Boingo_Writer. You can follow me on Instagram, Boingo_Writer, and my Discord server, which is in the description below. I make video editorials, and generously, you may be able to call my aesthetic vaporwave-esque. I use a lot of weird things.
Mm-hmm.
I downloaded an entire pack of just Memphis textures.
Because of course you did.
That you know what a Memphis texture looks like, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just got like a pack of them now, so I can use them forever.
Very clean.
But this is Modular Media Wrestling Podcast, a production of Modular Media, a creative collective cooperative. Which means jack shit until things actually start happening.
Yeah.
Remember, you can always subscribe to this channel to get more podcasts. There's a link in the description to download MP3s until we get an iTunes feed going strong. Remember, click the bell so you know when we're about to drop shit. Drop that Fire album. Boom. That thing.
Exactly.
Like the video.
Okay.
Press a little thumbs up. If you didn't like the video, still press that thumbs up. I don't give a fuck. Engage with the algorithm. Because that's the only way to get noticed. Batman, how are you doing?
We're never recording a show post midnight again.
But we already have. In the future, we will have another.
Okay.
Yes. And I'm the one editing, so I can do whatever I want. Batman. Wrestling.
Yay! Is that the end? Are we done?
No and yes.
I want to go to sleep!
You go to sleep when I say you can.
Okay.